The NHL will be back in less than a month, right? We are now into less than a month. We're not talking camps. Not talking preseason. We're talking October 12th. The Leafs are opening up the season, and the NHL will begin. So we figured we'd come up with a way too early prediction on the upcoming season, one of which, 3 categories: a Maple Leaf category, a Canadian markets category, and a rest of the NHL category. Okay, so who wants to start the party off? So usually the O-Dog is the first one to jump in. Why don't we let Frankie go?
All right.
Because Frankie is
Frankie. Sure.
new to this, and I'm curious what Frankie's got in store. Why don't we start with the Leafs category? What are you willing to predict for the upcoming Maple Leafs season?
And I don't know if this is too bold or not bold enough, but here we go. Here's my Leafs pick. The Leafs will be top 5 in the NHL in goal differential this year and have a combined save percentage of .912 between Matt Murray and Ilya Samsonov.
That would be a success, would you not say? If that
would be very successful. .912 would be very successful for those two guys.
Okay. I think that's optimistic. I don't think it's bold.
You don't think it's bold to think that both, like, what if both those guys are .896?
Well, I think they're going to score so many goals that they still might finish top 5 in goal differential, but
Noodles, just based on outscoring all their problems.
Yes.
Right. So I'm going to stay in the goalie theme for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Ilya Samsonov will be your number 1 for Game 1 of the playoffs.
Wow. Ooh. See, that feels bold just based on the amount of oxygen being directed towards Matt Murray right now. And Samsonov's on a 1-year make-it-or-break-it deal.
Yeah, so it was fonted, and Joe from the Bridge did it correctly. Ilya Samsonov will be the Leaf starter by season end. That's a bold prediction.
I think that is bold.
You know, he's a 26-year-old goaltender. He's got lots of skill. We're expecting Matt Murray to get his game back in order. But if there's a healthy competition there, that means you've got 2 good goaltenders. And you're feeling pretty good about it.
That also means you're paying your backup goaltender, in this case Matt Murray, over $4 million, which is not an ideal situation for a team that's going to be up against the cap all season long. I know the cap doesn't matter in playoffs, but man, I could see it. I don't see why not. Apparently, he's got all the tools, and he's a first-round pick.
Here's the other thing, and I know wins and losses don't mean a lot, but you do play the game to win. It doesn't matter the numbers. He had 23 wins last year, 23, 12, and 5. Yes, his goals against was .302. Yes, his save percentage was .896. But he played a career-high 44 games. So can he be a guy that maybe gets a little bit more, with expanded role?
He also played on a Washington team that was in the wild card spot, right? Like they weren't a division, fighting for the division the way the Leafs were all season long. So
exactly.
Yeah, I think they should have no allegiance to either guy in terms of past history. It's whoever is the best should play, and I fully expect that to be the case. The other caveat with Murray is, yes, you're paying him $4.7 million, but he's also got another year left, right? So if by the end of this season it's already been determined he can't be your guy or won't be your guy, then you may lose Samsonov because you can't pay him because you're paying Murray $4.7 the next year. But that's something we'll deal with down the road. Yeah. I think the third option, I'd almost say it's a split. There's a 33% chance Matt Murray's the guy, 33% chance Samsonov's the guy, 33% chance they trade for someone at the deadline, and that's the guy starting. I really do. I think it's 33% across the board.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised at all if they were up at the trade deadline and realized we got to find a goalie, and we have to pay a premium for it. And I don't know who that will be. The season will determine that. Actual status will determine that. Who's available, whatever. Who's willing to come up here? Who's willing to waive? What you got to pay for it? But I'm not sure what the answer is going to be. But Noodles, you're saying it'll be Samsonov.
That's my bold prediction. Yep.
Okay. My bold prediction is that Mitch Marner will score 40 goals this season. He had 35 last year and he missed 10 games, and he had a stretch run on the power play that was almost statistically impossible. Where
109 games or something?
He was basically a non-factor. And I was thinking about going with Matthews hitting 60 again, but that hasn't happened since the early 90s Pavel Bure. The only guys who have ever done that are the likes of Gretzky and Esposito and Hull and Lemieux. Ovechkin's never done it. Stamkos didn't do it. I think Matthews has a chance, but I'm not sure he hits 60 again. And I think Matthews maybe comes back a little bit Maybe they defend him a little bit differently, although that's easier said than done.
Yeah, good luck.
And maybe Mitch Marner chips in a little bit more. He had 35 last year. I think if he plays 82 games, he's going to play more than anyone on the ice up front. He's going to get every power play opportunity. And, again, Matthews maybe not defended differently, but maybe he realizes, okay, I can drag people in. That back door to Mitch could be wide open.
Yep.
Sure. I'm going to say Mitch Marner is going to score 40.
The other thing, too, like Bunting has been a really good addition to that line, and there was a lot of thought that line would take a step back without Zach Hyman, but Bunting brings that same kind of energy, maybe with a little different skill set. I'm not going to say more skilled than Zach Hyman, but just a different skill set. The other thing, too, like doing the games last year with the Tatman, covering them, Marner, when he had that stretch when he couldn't score, and especially on the power play, it just looked like he was throwing junk at the net. He was throwing stuff at the net just to throw it at the net. As soon as it clicked, I think he scored a nice post-and-in goal in New York, I believe. And from that moment on, it was like he was zeroed in, like legitimately like a sniper. Like think about like Army, like a sniper. Like he was zeroed in on everything. It almost felt like on his shots, he just took a little split-second extra to really hone in on where he wanted to put it. And he took off from there, man. And we kept saying, like, this guy he's found something. He's added something to his game. Listen, 40's a lot of goals, especially for a guy.
Not a pure goal scorer.
He's a playmaker, right? He's always looking for Matthews. He's always looking for everyone else. But I don't know if he keeps that same mentality, that same mindset, it could happen.
Yeah, listen,
that's why
35
it's a bold
last year.
Statement.
It's bold. It is
but
bold.
It's achievable.
Bold. Yeah. Listen, he's going to play a ton, and he's a great player. All right, the Canadian category.
Yeah.
So this is non-Leaf related Canadian hockey content.
Yeah.
So way too early prediction for the season. Frankie, where are you going with this?
I didn't know where to go with this because I went across the board, and Ottawa's, you're going to say Ottawa's going to make the playoffs. You're going to say, like, what's Montreal? Are they going to be last place? Probably not. Like, I don't know what's bold out there. Winnipeg, I don't know what's bold for them. So I went back to Alberta, and when I look at Edmonton and I look at Calgary, for me, there's a lot of firepower on Edmonton. There's a lot more depth on Edmonton that they've had in the past, and they've added Jack Campbell. But with the moves that Calgary made, I'm so intrigued as to if they are actually going to be a better team than they were before. So I guess my way too early prediction or statement is going to be this. The Flames will win the Pacific Division, and Jonathan Huberdeau and Elias Lindholm will combine for more goals than the combination of Johnny Gaudreau and Patrick Laine. So just to add a little more insult to the, I guess, Johnny Gaudreau leaving town, Huberdeau and Lindholm are going to do better.
Wow. Well, listen, they're both, like, Lindholm is one of the most underrated players in the league.
Yeah.
He's a great player. And Huberdeau is more than capable of, he's going to get 90-plus points.
Well,
he had 115 last year.
Exactly.
Lindholm had a monster year last year with Johnny Gaudreau. And can you imagine if Huberdeau comes in now and Lindholm takes another step or has an even
Who's the third guy
bigger?
on the line, though? That's the question. Kachuk was a big factor in this
Yeah, and Kadri's a centerman. So, like, what if Mangiapane's playing up there?
But here's the thing, though. Are you 100% guaranteeing that Kadri's going to play center? They got Michael Backlund there as a number 2, and he's a hell of a player. So
yeah,
I could see Kadri getting some peaks on a wing just to be – that frees him up, too, to be right in the mix physically.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So, Nazem is – we'll call it a Swiss Army knife. He can play any forward position and be very effective at it. So I don't think – again, I'm not in the know, but I don't think Daryl's married to just going, okay. Now, he does believe, I saw an interview the other day, winning teams are built down the middle, and he loves the fact that you got Lindholm, you got Kadri, you got Backlund. But it wouldn't surprise me if Kadri got some looks. And Huberdeau's a guy that can really distribute the puck.
Yep.
Mangiapane is another guy. He's a shooter. They got Dubé. They've got some players that I think are trying to come into their own. Young players, and Daryl talked about players in that 23 to 27 age group taking another step. So I think he was aiming it right at those players that you just talked about, Frank.
Okay.
So
showing a lot of love to the Flames. I like it. Noodles, what do you have?
I'm going to say Tim Stützle leads the Ottawa Senators in points. And, you got DeBrincat there. You got Kachuk. You got Batherson, who made the All-Star team last year. You got Josh Norris. But I think Stützle, in his third year, is going to take another step. He had 58 points last year, so he's on that 60-point mark. I think we might be talking a point a game for him. So that point a game puts him into that 80-point range.
Yep.
He might lead that team. Now, DeBrincat, I think, is a 40-goal scorer if he's healthy. And,
Claude Giroux, what's he worth, you think?
But Giroux adding, points into that mix, helping on the power play. Like I say, I think Stützle, this could be his year, kind of his coming out as finding another level. So that's my bold statement.
That would be big the first year of the extension kicking. I guess he's got one more year, and then next year it kicks in. But that would be significant if he made a big statement. Now that he's been paid, he's got the security, and they love him in Ottawa. And you said it for a long time. Like, he's uber talented. It's just about putting it together.
Yeah.
I like that. And I think if that is the case, Ottawa they'll be pesky. Like, they'll be in a hunt. So I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but I think they'll be in a hunt. And I wouldn't be shocked if they found a way to get in.
My last comment about them is I believe they're going to be playing meaningful hockey in March.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
That's I don't know what that translates to, but I think they're going to be playing meaningful hockey where they're right on that cusp, whether make it, not make it difficult for people. Like, I think it's going to be very meaningful hockey for them.
Yeah, they got to turn a corner at some point, and it should be this year. My way too early prediction, which may be bold, is this will be Mark Scheifele's last season in Winnipeg. He's got 2 years left on his deal, which means by next summer the questions will be popping up. Are you going to stick around? Do they want him to stick around? There's a lot of smoke around his name. A lot of smoke that he would be the one that would be shipped out to change, the makeup of the team. And that quieted down almost as quickly as it, became loud.
Yep.
It came and went quickly, that rumor, and obviously they're committed to Scheifele. But I think there could be a reckoning coming in Winnipeg because Pierre-Luc Dubois has effectively said he's out of here. Scheifele might leave as a free agent in 2 years anyway. If they have another down season, I'm not sure Cheveldayoff sticks around, and quite frankly, I'm not sure he should. He's the only GM they've ever had. Since they got to Winnipeg. They had a down year last year to the point where Maurice left. Maurice clearly was looking to get back in the game. Florida called him. He returned to the game. Rick Bowness, I'm curious what he brings. He's been around forever. He had a really good stint there in Dallas, especially in the bubble. But I'm thinking Winnipeg could be dealing with a real turnover soon. And I think Scheifele could be at the front of that.
Yeah.
And if he's not willing to commit long term, which he doesn't have to, he doesn't have to make a decision next summer. If they have a down year, I think that'll be it. I think Scheifele will be out.
I had some notes on Winnipeg, too, and pivoted to Ottawa. But, for me, I still think their team they're my San Jose from a couple years ago where I picked San Jose every year to, I liked them on paper, could do some damage. And last year, they were ultra disappointing. The year before, they beat Edmonton, they swept them, and then they get swept by Montreal. But to me, it all stems on the goaltender and Nikolai Ehlers for me. And I think Ehlers is, he had a good season last year. He just got injured for 6 weeks, and they got derailed at that point. But I agree with you, Hayes. I think this is a pivotal year for that whole group. And it's either, get your act together, or it's boom, blow it up.
And no more excuses, Noodles. I hate to harp on it, but I feel like with Winnipeg, we always expect they're going to be a very good team. They're always picked, to go deep in the playoffs, and something happens, one thing happens, and the excuses start piling on. It's like everyone's got injuries. Everyone's got players that move on. Everyone's got to deal with these things. Spare everyone from the excuses. You got to do it at some point.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, they have to. This is, 2 years ago, it was a Canadian bubble. I don't even know what that's worth. It was a long time ago when they went to a conference final against Vegas. Yeah. It's been a while, and there's been turnovers. So I think it's a make it or break it year, and I'm not banking on it being a make it year. I think Scheifele, this will be the end of the road in Winnipeg. Now we're doing the rest of the league. All right, Frankie, you can lead us off here. What do you have for a prediction less than a month away from opening night in the NHL?
I got one here that I think would put a pretty big smile on your face specifically, Brian. So here we go. My league-wide bold prediction or way too early prediction. The Vegas Golden Knights will not only miss the playoffs, but will be in the running for a lottery pick this year.
I do like that.
Yes,
bold, I want them to fail miserably.
It's bold. It's spicy. It may be a little outlandish, but Robin Lehner is not going to be playing this year. Your goaltenders are Larry Brossoit, Logan Thompson, and Aiden Hill. I understand the Pacific Division is not the best, but I can't imagine you're going to win too many games with your goaltending. Now, you have 6 defensemen on your roster, and that's roughly $26 million with your cap. They are so strapped against the cap, they had to play with 5 defensemen multiple times last year. What if, and I hope it never happens, but what if Pietrangelo's the guy who can't play, which I think at times last year it was. You're talking about guys who are fringe guys having to play with 5D. Listen, I love Jack Eichel. I like as a player. I like him as a player. I like the fact that I'm all for player empowerment. He got his surgery that he thought he should have got. I'm all for that. But I look at their roster up front. If someone's out or if people are struggling, I don't know who's going to pick up the slack. Like, it's not going to be Phil Kessel at this point in his career. He's going to be a complimentary piece. I don't know, man. I could just see it going south for them this year.
Ooh, that is bold.
It is a bold statement because I actually thought Vegas would be fine because they just need adequate goaltending. It's the same argument we brought back to here in Toronto. Is there in Vegas? That's the biggest question mark. Robin Lehner out. Logan Thompson is a undrafted goaltender, is a free agent who's lefty goalie from just outside of Calgary, and has some ability, but that's a lot to ask of him. Same thing with Laurent Brossoit, good number 2. Aiden Hill, I don't know if you guys remember that. Hill had like a career game against the Leafs. Was that last year?
Yeah, oh yeah.
6'6" goaltender, big goaltender, still pretty raw, but it's a giant question mark. But I look at Eichel. I think a healthy Mark Stone would help because I always talked about, I think Montreal set a modern-day record for man games lost last year. Vegas was right there with them. Like, it was insane the amount of players they lost. If they're healthy.
But look how they're starting. Leonard's out. It's just like Montreal. Right. Price is out.
And I'm not arguing with you, Frankie. It's more about I just think that they can't have that bad of luck as they did last year. That's the crazy part, like from an injury standpoint.
And they were still in it down the stretch last year. All right, Nunos, what do you have for your prediction league-wide?
I'm on Fiala in L.A. Like, I think he's a sneaky superstar. Like, he had 85 points last year in mini. I think he's going to go north of that. I think he's north of 90, which puts him into potentially a top 10 scoring in the NHL.
Okay.
I think Marner was 10th in the league last year with 97?
Yeah.
Like, I think Fiala's that he might be knocking on the door of that. That's
sneaky
what I'm
player. He's a sneaky player.
Really good player.
And when you watch him play, he's got it all, man. Like, he's got that shot. He's fast. He can move. Playmaking ability. I like him. In LA, they're up and coming. Very good team.
Well, and I think he's going to get a long leash there. Like, they're going to, like in Minnesota, I not that he got pushed down in the lineup, but I just think there were some harnesses on him. Different style. I think LA is a fast team up and coming, and I think Fiala is going to be a cornerstone piece of that as, the guys that core gets older and they cycle through. So I think, he might be top 10, but in that 90-plus points for sure.
I like it. That is thinking outside the box. That's a good fantasy little sleeper, too, right? Not that people aren't aware of how good he is, but 90-plus from Fiala, that's big. All right, I'm going to stay in the same division, but I'm not talking about players or coaches or GMs. I'm talking about a rink, all right? Here's my prediction. Every team in the league will have at least one player publicly carve the rink in Arizona. Publicly. 31 teams will go through there, and at least one of the players will say, give me a mic, because this is a joke. This is an absolute disaster. We're in the National Hockey League. There's 4,000 fans here. Feels like I'm playing in Lethbridge.
Yeah. Lethbridge is 5,700, I believe.
There you go. My bad. Yeah. Sorry, Lethbridge. My bad. It's like St. Mike's Arena. That's basically where they're playing.
St. Mike's Arena.
It's outrageous. And every team, 31, mark my words, will have one player say, give me a mic because I'm saying this publicly.
Can't wait to see it.
The Arizona State University Coyotes.
That is your bold statement.
Yes.
I mean,
I think it's lukewarm. I don't even think it's bold. I think it's room temperature. Wait till Brad Marchand walks in there. Do you know what he's going to say about that place? Wait till Brad Marchand walks into that barn. It's going to be outrageous. All right, there you have it.